I say we're harming them when we paint an untrue picture of um, of not only the struggle but also the resilience of Black people.
That right there is the heartbeat of today's conversation. I'm Esther Dillard, and this is The Color Between the Lines. Today I'm joined by Dr. Maxine Bryant, award-winning journalist, educator, cultural truth teller, and the founder of GriotSpeaks. Dr. Bryant has spent decades helping people connect with accurate Black history, not just through books and workshops, but now through an innovative new board game designed to make learning communal, engaging, and deeply rooted in Africa and the global Black diaspora. In our conversation, we talk about why telling truth about Black history still matters, especially right now, and how play can become a powerful tool for education, healing, and pride. Let's get into the conversation. What does a griot mean to you, and how does that shape everything that you do with GriotSpeaks?
So, the African proverb is until the lion tells the story, the hunter will always be the hero. And when we look at African American stories, our narrative, other people have always told our story from their perspective. I was reading a quote, I'm going to get to your question in a minute. A quote from Malcolm X over the weekend, and it said that when other people tell your narrative, they you then become confused because you're being miseducated. And I'm about educating with truth. So when I first came into knowledge of that particular African proverb, it became my mantra. And I use GriotSpeaks to do that. My background is academic background is criminal justice, but I became the director of the Gullah Geechee Center in the Center for Africana Studies for Georgia Southern University several years ago. And that prompted me on my quest to learn more and to tell more. So we know that in West Africa, the griot is the history village keeper of the heritage, keeper of the information, the librarian, if you will, or the library, actually, for all of that knowledge. As the GriotSpeaks brand coordinator, creator, if you will, what I endeavor to do is to replace mythology in African American history, replace misinformation, and to fill in the gaps with truth for information that's been eliminated or minimized. And so much of that is going on, particularly now with our banning of books. Other people controlling our narrative. It's like this is time, and particularly now more than ever, because we're facing so much misinformation in media, in our schools, our educational system. So for me, positioning myself in this role means I have the privilege and the honor of correcting untruth.
Why is telling truth about Black history clearly and accurately still essential, regardless of the political climate that's happening?
So there is so much we don't know, Esther, about our brilliance. One of the things I say is that genius cannot be stopped. And we are so, I don't want to say ignorant, we know so little about our genius. Throughout history, we've not been told that we are brilliant, that we are genius, that we are the originators of knowledge, of science, of math, of all of those things. I don't know about you, but many people like me were told or were led to believe that Europeans gave us those things, and us poor African people and the descendants of Africans were like in the dark ages until they came along. Wrong. If we knew our brilliance and our genius, then we can begin to see ourselves differently, to walk in pride. And I believe that if white children grow up knowing about the brilliance and genius of Black children, they will learn to view Blackness in a different way and have a different sense of respect for us. And we can have a different respect for ourselves. It's easy. My background, like I said, is criminal justice. I firmly believe it's easy for me to take you out if you look like me, but I don't love me. I've never been told anything positive about me. My narrative has been already written. I'm going to either be dead or in prison or on welfare for all of those negative things because I don't amount to anything. My high school counselor told me I was not college material, right? Basically because of the color of my skin. Now, I didn't apply myself in high school either. Okay, that's on me. But he gave me ammunition to believe, oh, well, I'm not going to amount to anything anyway, so why try? Had it not been for my mother, I wouldn't have gone to college. And when I went, I didn't go for the right reason. I went to go get a husband, right? But along the way, I found that I'm smart. I know some things. I can retain information. I can create. Right? And so that motivated me. I know that if our young people were inundated with accurate truth about their heritage, about where they came from, about the DNA genius, or the genius that is in their DNA, they can begin to have a deeper and different appreciation for not only what they can do, but for what they can do in the future and change their life trajectory.
I know you, at one point, you decided that this work was going to be needed to move beyond books and workshops and become this game. What sparked that idea?
The only answer I have is that God downloaded the game into me. Really. I was in Atlanta and had just come from visiting my sister in Florida. And I already had come up with the concept of GriotSpeaks, right? I was going to do online virtual workshops and that kind of thing, because that's what I do. The idea of the game literally dropped into my spirit and I saw it all laid out. And it comprises of over 300 question cards where they're in 4 categories: geography, and it's throughout the diaspora, not just the United States. So it includes the Caribbean and Africa. People who have said things, people who have done things, culture, literature, music, theater, all of that is involved, the Gullah Geechee culture, and skirmishes, battles, protests that we've been involved in or that have been done against us, like the Rosewood Massacre and other types of things, the Tulsa Massacre. People move around the board by answering those questions.
What have you observed from people when people learn Black history together through play rather than through a lecture or through a textbook?
Excitement of owning it, of owning the information. I've had 3 game trials, if you will, testing program opportunities for the game to be played. And in each setting, well, in 2 of the settings, 15 people played. The 4 players and 1 person who's the griot, who actually reads the question and lets people know that the answer is either correct or not. But I observed people getting excited about information that they knew, excited about learning corrected information, whereas there had been something taught to them that was erroneous, a curiosity to want to know more, lots and lots of discussion among the players. And here's something, Esther, that really, I knew that it was going to be phenomenal when this happened. I had the game played. The first time was with my peers, who were all like educated people, and they loved it. But I thought I want to do it with community people who don't have letters behind their name. So I did, and in that particular setting, I probably knew everybody at that setting. One young lady was a master level teacher, educator in high school, I think. A person at her table was a previously incarcerated person with a GED. They didn't know that about each other, but the light bulbs that went out on as they played and interacted together and had fun and enjoyed it and could talk to one another about what they were learning and what they already knew. I'm like, if I can, that's about as polar opposite as you can get.
Hey, if this conversation is resonating with you, please take a moment and support my work by subscribing to the channel. It's free and it helps this work reach more people. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. Please also share this conversation with someone else because every conversation shared spreads the powerful message. Now let's get back to the conversation. Where do you imagine people playing GriotSpeaks, and why do you see it in these spaces being really impactful?
In their homes. I had one family who insisted on testing the game. And it happened to be a Black man, and he was married to a white woman, and their children, who were now of mixed heritage, were being homeschooled, but they wanted to try the game. I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to work. The 12-year-old girl did excellent and was very competitive against her father, and she actually won the game. The 9-year-old struggled, which is why I know that it's not for children, but in home settings for families at family reunions, gathering around, parents can adapt it to be an educational tool for their children, but they need to have some knowledge themselves or be willing to learn with their children. Definitely colleges and universities, community centers, wherever Black and white people are wanting to learn more information and have fun in doing that.
I know that this is now just it's a game that is a physical game that you have on a board, but I understand that you're thinking about it even being kind of expanded in a different way. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. It's been patented for both the board game as well as 2 additional levels. The next level is going to be an app on your phone. And it's been designed to capture all of the components of the board game, but it'll be played on the phone. The third level is a computerized electronic game that can be played on the computer across the world. Players from around the world can play each other, much like some of the games that we have even now, right? And the algorithms will be or is designed so that the questions adapt to the player's cognitive ability as well as their learning style.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So
Wow.
my patent attorneys and I worked tirelessly to nail down everything and get it just right. And so I'm getting ready to soon after launch. I'm beginning to have conversations now with people who can create the cell phone game, the app, as well as the electronic version.
Now, I know I'm going to take a little step back because we talked about the game a lot, and GriotSpeaks, the game, reflects what GriotSpeaks, the vision or your platform is. Can you talk a bit about what the difference is between the game and your vision and your platform?
Absolutely. When I first conceived the concept of GriotSpeaks, as an educator, I just saw myself educating. And so under that, I created online virtual classes, and I divided those into modules. There are 4 modules, and each module consists of 4 weeks of learning, and we meet for 1 hour each week, right? And it's by Zoom. So right now I'm finishing up, well, I'm in module 4, and I have people from Costa Rica, from Indiana, from Michigan, from Georgia, from Virginia, and North Carolina, North Carolina. And we meet once a week, and I create a workbook, and there are workbook questions that you answer, lots of reading material, and videos that go along with whatever we're talking about that week. So that's one thing. I also am an award-winning journalist. I wrote for the Savannah Morning News for a number of years on African and African-American culture, primarily in Savannah, though. Right now, I write for the Indianapolis Recorder, which is the 4th longest running Black newspaper in the U.S. And I'm writing under the GriotSpeaks brand.
What excites you the most about where you're headed next with this?
Knowing that I am contributing to the body of knowledge, period. when I was working on my PhD and you do your dissertation, what they say is you're going to be contributing to the body of knowledge for academia. And that was so stuffy for me. I didn't have fun doing that at all. But now I get to contribute to the body of knowledge in a way that excites other people and gets them to think and research. One man, he's in my class for GriotSpeaks the modules. He called me yesterday and he said, Max, if I had known what you're teaching in these classes, it would have changed the trajectory of my life. I believe the mythology that I've been taught. And this guy is like almost 70 years old. And he was like, I wish I could start all over again, knowing what I'm learning now. And it sparked him to learn on his own, because I'm not the end all. But right. I want to plant the seed of curiosity where people will begin seeking accurate truth on their own.
The argument in many circles has been that when we have too much focus on things like Black history, it makes other white children feel inferior. Can you talk about that?
Oh my goodness, I love you, Esther. Yes. For those people who believe that we're harming children when too much focus is put on the negative about slavery and all of that, I say we're harming them when we paint an untrue picture of not only the struggle, but also the resilience of Black people. We're creating more harm when we sugarcoat things for our children instead of being quite truthful with them, because otherwise we're miseducating them, and no good comes from that. Not if we're going to prepare them adequately to operate in a diverse world, right? You may not like the letters DEI, but the fact of the matter is our world is diverse. Our country is diverse. We're not all one. And there's no need for us to try to be. We can't. We're long past that.
That's Dr. Maxine Bryant, award-winning journalist, educator, and founder of GriotSpeaks. You can learn more about her work, including the GriotSpeaks board game and the upcoming digital platform, by visiting her website and following her on social media. We have the links in the show notes. Dr. Bryant, I want to just thank you so much for sharing your time, your insight, and your commitment to telling these stories with truth and intention. I'm Esther Dillard, and this is The Color Between the Lines.